Hi, I'm here to talk about the new Batman Adventures. Something that to know is that I do have a lot of nostalgia for the new Batman Adventures. When I was growing up, a lot of the merchandise that I saw for Batman and a lot of the toys and stuff was from the new Batman Adventures, so I have a lot of nostalgia for that. But I also have a lot of nostalgia for Batman the Animated Series, which I think holds up really well. The new Batman Adventures does have some elements and some episodes that do hold up for me, but a lot of the problems that I thought were from Batman the Animated Series, I realized were specifically from the new Batman Adventures. The season with the much different character designs, with Nightwing, with Tim Drake being Robin, uh, with lots of different designs for characters. Um, when it comes to the animation style, I do have a fondness for nostalgic memories. Like, I like keeping this Batman toy near me for nostalgic reasons. And I do like Batman's design in it. I think I do prefer the Batman the Animated Series design, but I do like the new Batman Adventures design for Batman. I'm not the biggest fan of the Bruce Wayne design. The way Bruce Wayne, and not just the design, but also the way he behaves and acts, it feels like he's less friendly in his Bruce Wayne persona than he should be to keep up the act. And it feels like, in general, Batman himself feels like a less likable character. Like, there was a time where I thought Batman the Animated Series version wasn't terribly likable, but then I realized it was actually the new Batman Adventures that I had a problem with, where Batman seems like a colder, less friendly, less caring person, which is very weird because he has Tim Drake around and he has Barbara Gordon around. And I get that there was the falling out um, with Richard Grayson and stuff like that, and him leaving Batman. I can understand why that would make him somewhat more depressed and stuff like that, but I feel like he would still be a really good, caring person to Tim Drake, which it doesn't feel like that comes out as much. It doesn't feel like he's as caring. It feels like he kind of acts like a jerk to Barbara Gordon. It feels like he's not really expressing that kindness, that soft side. Where Batman the Animated Series, he expressed sympathy for a lot of his villains, like Mr. Freeze, and of course the thing with Two Face. It felt like he had care and a soft side that even came around enemies. Where in the new Batman Adventures, it feels like he's a bit harsher, even around the people that he loves, that are his family. And I know technically not birth family, but his still family, around the people that he should be treating with lots of respect and love, and that does bother me. So Batman's characterization, I'm not nearly as big of a fan of his characterization in New Batman Adventures as I am in Batman the Animated Series. I mean, same continuity, but not just different design, a very different personality. Tim Drake is okay. Not a character that I would personally want to be in a whole bunch of episodes, but he's fine. I do like the idea of having Barbara Gordon, Batgirl, around a lot. I am a big fan of the character. I wish it was under different circumstances with a nicer Batman. I do feel sorry for her. Nightwing's pretty cool. It is cool to see Grayson develop and change the character, and I do understand why he has a problem with Bruce Wayne. Um, Alfred and Gordon are still good, not much to complain about there. When it comes to the villains, not a huge fan of some of the redesigns. Like, when it comes to the Joker, I like the outfit, don't like it as much as the animated series outfit, but it's good. But not a big fan of like the hair and the face and the eyes and stuff like that. And like how Batman feels harsher, Joker does feel harsher, less entertaining. aside from the episode where they're referencing more classic Batman, where it's I think Michael McKean doing the Joker's voice, which is a lot of fun, and yeah, Michael McKean doing it, and who later on went on to be Perry White in Smallville, so that's pretty cool. But like, Mad Love, I understand why it's an interesting episode, but I prefer a more fun Joker. I'm not as big a fan of the cruel Joker. Um, so there's stuff like that. There was some fun stuff like a Batgirl Supergirl team up, and then having Livewire team up with Harley and Ivy. That was a pretty fun idea for an episode. So that's pretty cool. And Batman did get to guest star on Superman the animated series. So there's some fun crossover stuff. I like uh, New Batman Adventures not being too much of the crossover stuff. Having a little bit, I think, is a lot of fun. The Penguin's good in the show. I like his new role, and I do like his new designs. If anything, I would like even more of the Penguin. Not much to play about there. The Riddler's barely in it, though. I think he just gets a couple little cameos, and that's it. So that's unfortunate. And the characters like Catwoman are fine. Two-Face is still really good. Still love Two-Face. Scarecrow is very intimidating, which makes sense for him. He's cool. Uh, when it comes to the Scarecrow, I like all the different Scarecrow designs that he has, the two in the animated series and the one in the new Batman Adventures. I'm a fan of all of them. I think they all work for the character. And actually, Ventriloquist gets a really good episode that really explores his humanity and his sympathetic side, and I really like his episode. Um, and it's cool finally getting Firefly, a very creepy Firefly, but it's still pretty cool to see him. Mr. Freeze's episode, I don't think works the best. I feel like a lot of the sort of nuance and humanity with him isn't really there in his appearance. I'm not a big fan of his episode, unfortunately. So there's a lot of mixed stuff in there. A lot of the problems I thought were from the animated series are from the new Batman Adventures. However, um, there are good episodes. The Scarecrow episode is really good. Both Two-Face episodes, Ventriloquist episode. There's the Farmer Brown episode, which is hilarious and ridiculous, and I love it. So there is that. So there are episodes I still like. So I don't want to make it seem like I think the New Adventures of Batman is terrible, because I don't think that. But I do think it is a step down from Batman animated series, and not just because of the designs. Designs play a factor, but there's more to it than that. It's not just the designs that were changed. Batman's characterization changed. And so there are some things like that, and like Mr. Freeze not being as sympathetic and stuff like that. So there are other reasons. It's not just the character designs. However, if I were to decide, do I like the New Adventures of Batman or do I dislike it? I am definitely leaning more towards liking it, though, despite my big problems, particularly when it comes to the main character himself, Batman. But the elements that do work really well. And Batman, even though I have some big problems with his characterization, there are still moments of the humanity and heart of Batman are still there occasionally. Um, in the episode where Batman and Grayson aren't getting along, there's a really good thing revealed about the character that I really like. So there's some things. He has some moments, but there are some noticeable problems. And then there's some kind of just weird things, like there's a scene where Bruce Wayne goes in disguise and wearing, I think, just like the same Bruce Wayne suit that he normally wears, and with just, I think, just a little mustache. It's like, well, Bruce Wayne, I think, was usually really good at disguising himself, like in the episode, I think it's called, like, The Forgotten. So him suddenly being really bad disguises, that's a little weird. So there's some weird stuff like that, and I think it was to save money and stuff, but yeah, so overall the new Batman Adventures is flawed. I do like it, though.